Some big games coming up this evening, obviously starting tonight. Heels is a big one.
And I think someone was sort of saying, I think it was Braden actually, whoever wins this wins the lot, right?
Well, that's not.
Can the Roosters hold it? Well, can the Panthers steady? And can the Roosters get their jobs done with all the injuries they've had, especially at 7 and 9?
Yeah, big, obviously, a lot of eyeballs going on tonight's game, mainly for the reason for Nathan Cleary's back into the side. They haven't been at their best. Yes, they've been winning games. Have they had one eye on the semi-finals? They've injected their kingpin back into the fold. He's, I think for a team who's played in 4 straight grand finals, won 3 straight premierships, they absolutely know what they're doing. They absolutely know how to handle this part of the season. I think the last 3 weeks that we've seen, Canberra beat them. They only beat the Titans by 6. All irrelevant. New competition starts tonight, and they have arguably their best team on paper, the Penrith Panthers. Nathan's back into the 7. Their back row is back to how it is. Leota and Fisher-Harris up front. Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo and Sorensen. The big omissions, obviously, from the Roosters. Radley, no Sam Walker, no Brandon Smith. And to win big games, yes, they've got a great team, great lineup, but to win big games, you need cohesiveness, you need momentum, and you need a little bit of luck, but more importantly, you need your best players' heels. And I just feel those 2 outs, or those 3 outs rather, are huge, like enormous outs.
James Fisher-Harris, okay, and Liam Martin, okay?
Well,
they're playing, aren't they? So
they're
they
absolutely
must be pretty good.
Yeah, they're playing. They're a little battered and bruised, but like I say, everyone at this point of the season is battered and bruised. I tell you what, the matchup I am looking forward to, Spencer Leniu up against Moses
Leota.
The Motor Leota. Obviously Spencer Leniu has won 3 competitions with the Penrith Panthers, flipped over to go to the Roosters, now comes up against his former team, so there should be some fireworks in that one.
Both on the field at the same time? Do they start?
They will,
each half?
Yeah. So initially, Spencer Leniu was coming off the bench. He's a starter now. So it's going to be a great game. I expect a semi-final performance from both sides. Trent Robinson has been very open this week in talking around, and the players have been talking around what sort of traffic Nathan's going to cop and receive, more importantly from Angus Crichton, who's untouchable at the moment. He is so big and strong. They're going to have a job on hand. The fullback matchup. You got James Tedesco, the Australian skipper, and Dylan Edwards, the player that took his spot in the Origin. Does he take his spot at the end of the year in the green and gold? Yet to be seen. But it's going to be a great match. I think the fact playing at home for the Penrith Panthers and the inability of the Roosters being able to beat a top side. Over 20 games, Heels, the facts are they have only beaten once. That is the Melbourne Storm. Out of 20 games between these two teams, the Melbourne Storm and also the Penrith Panthers, the Roosters have failed to do it. Is tonight going to be the night? I don't think so. I think the inclusion of Nathan Cleary, too big.
Do they defend Nathan Cleary somewhere radical?
No, you can't.
Don't need to.
Nathan's not coming back into the side unless he's 100% ready to go.
Yeah, okay.
That's just how it is. So we'll wait and see what unfolds there, but it's going to be an absolute cracker to start that one.
Righto, then we go to the Storm and the Sharks. Now, Sharks no credibility amongst anyone so far. They don't trust them.
No one has given them credibility because they haven't done anything. And I guess that's the only way you can erase that is by going on and put in a performance and get a win. They're 0-6 in semi-final performances. They've been terrific throughout the season. One of the most consistent teams. They've finished once again in the top 4. Fitzy's done a great job in that regard. But they've bowed out in straight sets in all these sort of semi-final series. They have been to Melbourne, however, and got the job done. They did that this season under Atkinson at halfback. Nico Hines is back into that team. They need to play a great style of football, but they need to play, more importantly, Heels, a semi-final style of football. They need to change their style. They need to change their intensity. They need to change everything about what they're doing because it's a completely new season now. It doesn't matter what's just happened. They go to Melbourne. I think internally they'll be galvanised. They'll be better and more aware of the run. But it's a little bit like what I just touched on with the Roosters. They understand subconsciously. They'll know that, boy, we haven't won a semi-final game. And I don't expect them to beat Melbourne. And I'm not too concerned on the result, as in the win-loss. But if I was a Sharks player or fan, I want to see a performance that when they go and play next week that they can get the job done. So it's going to be a big game there in Melbourne. I just think the way that Melbourne are at, the way that Craig Bellamy has his team ready to go, I think they'll be too strong. It should be a great game, though.
Can you move Melbourne around? Is that the way to play them? You've got to get the ball away from them and move their defence.
Yeah, you do. You do. And Melbourne's defence this year has leaked a few points, but they've just been an incredible attacking team. They've won from all different styles of play this season. One thing that has unsettled Melbourne at different stages is a little bit of second phase, a little bit of creativity from an offload, etc. Just disjoints the defensive line.
Yes.
So whether they play Melbourne a little different or not, but the big thing when you play a Melbourne Storm is you need to take your moments. And if a moment arises and you do not take it, it will come back and bite you at some stage.
They're sort of like the All Blacks of the NRL, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, good luck to Sharks and the Storm. Cowboys Knights. Well, we've heard Matty Johns' theories about the Knights and how this matchup is perfect for them. I disagree.
Well, I disagree also, but the thing that I suppose, even to the listeners, doesn't give me any hope is I haven't been able to trust either side. I mean, when you look at the two teams and you go through them, you just lean heavily towards the Cowboys based on their lineup. But they haven't shown consistency for long enough periods throughout the season, so I can't trust them. But I'm going to lean towards the Cowboys. But then you've got the Newcastle Knights who work hard and they have all this going for them in terms of grit and all that stuff. Is that good enough to win a semi-final at home against the Cowboys? I don't think so.
How good are they at the back end of seasons?
But they have Kalen Ponga. If Kalen Ponga plays a 9 out of 10 game, they are well and truly in the fight. They just are. He's that good. I want to hope, and I certainly hope for Todd Payten and all the Cowboys fans and all our Queensland fans, because there's only one team we got left, that the Cowboys can defend the way that they did and have that intent and desire, the way they had it against the Bulldogs right from the start. When Reuben Cotter walked out of the tunnel the other day and led his team out, there was a steely look in his eye heels, and it was like one of, we are not going to lose today and we're going to put in a great performance. They need to own that at home.
They've got to turn that into a turning point in a Sydney victory.
They do.
That's one of their great victories interstate, and now they go back to home.
Yeah, you're spot on. And again, Scott Drinkwater, they've got, not only have they got the ability to beat Newcastle Knights and progress forward, I believe they have the ability to win the competition. Defensively, I can't trust them or haven't seen it. If they can do that, what we saw against the new Bulldogs on the weekend, they can win. You go through their team. To win competitions, Heels, you need some great players in good positions, and you go through them. Drinkwater is a good player. And you've got Kyle Felt, who's experienced, and Murray Taulagi, who's an Origin winger. Then you've got an Origin centre in Valentine Holmes. Then you've got Origin halfback in Tom Dearden. Then you go into the forwards. They got Reece Robson, who's the New South Wales hooker. You got Jordan McLean, who's been thereabouts with playing Test football. Jason Matalmalola's got the experience, and we understand there. Jeremiah Nanai, he's an Origin player. Reuben Cotter, Origin player. Elam Lukey, Origin player in the making. So they've got all the things in all the right places, but can they get it done? They only got to do it for 3 more games, Heels. Hopefully they can continue to raise the flag for Queensland.
It's time, one at a time. Now, sentiment around that the Bulldogs are gone. Do you think that? And they're up against Manly.
They are. They're up against Manly. And I go back to a couple of weeks ago when Manly absolutely put the cleaners through them. And it was through that physicality in the middle, off the back of Paseka and Brown and Ola Kawatu and Matt Lodge. I thought they were able to lay that platform. The big in for me, the enormous in for me is Tom Trbojevic. I mean, he just is. He has the ability to just throw a team on his back. He is the best number one in the competition, in my opinion, when he's playing his best football. He has every attribute you can have. And then you sort of throw into a few other things. Obviously, we talked about Luke Brooks a little earlier, who's playing his first final series. Like, it's incredible to think over a decade he's been in the game, never played a finals game, so he'll be ready to go. But the feel-good story of the competition are the Bulldogs. And they've got their fearless leader back, Stephen Crichton. Sherry's back into it. Obviously, Matt Burton. No Ado Carr, for obvious reasons, and we've spoken about that at length at different stages this week. I just think the air may have gone out of the balloon for the Bulldogs, and it's been a great season. And to the faithful blue and white, well, I hope I'm wrong, but I think, they'll be at home, be close to 50,000 their heels. They'll be absolutely baying to try and get their team over the line. The last 2 weeks, though, the best defensive team, the last 2 weeks, they've conceded way too many points, 44 against the Cowboys and a stack of points a week before. This is the best defensive team over the course of the season. So they need to fix that up, and they need to fix it up quick, smart, because when the Manly Sea Eagles are off and racing, they can score points very, very quickly. However, the Manly Sea Eagles coming off that defeat against the Sharks were ordinary at home. So flip a coin, but I'm going to go with the Manly Sea Eagles.
Okay. Burton's in is a big one for them. They'll be playing in better areas of the field with that big kicking game.
It's enormous. Anyway, it's an enormous kicking game.
It's got the makings of a great clash, let's hope.
It certainly does, and it'll be a packed-out stadium, you would think, 40 to 50,000 there, at a core, predominantly being the blue and white. And I saw something yesterday. James Graham, Jimmy Graham, has paid, or bought, rather, $10,000 worth of tickets that he's going to give away to a lot of the Bulldogs fans. So they will be absolutely humming there. And you can enter your grassroots sporting team on the I Can Win page, or you can be the next Macca's Little Legend.